Welcome to FCP Conversations Online, featuring Bucks County nonprofit leaders. Join our discussion with community organizations that share our mission and are making a difference in the lives of our neighbors.
Hello, I'm Ron Bernstein, the Executive Director of Foundation's Community Partnership. Welcome to FCP Conversations Online, and thank you for joining us. Our guest today is Marissa Christie, the President and CEO of the United Way of Bucks County. Marissa, welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Well, the United Way has a long history here in Bucks County. I understand about 70 years. Can you kind of scroll back and give us a feel for the long history, and then we'll get up to date and see what's cooking these days?
Sure. Although United Way in the U.S. is over 130 years old, locally, our chapter, United Way of Bucks County, is about 70 years old now. And we've changed a lot over the years. I think that our mission has always been helping people in Bucks County who need help, but the way in which we do that and the people we bring along in our partnerships has evolved over the years.
All right, well, let's talk a little bit about that involvement. You know, people used to think of some of the big organizations at the lower end of the county running traditional United Way campaigns, but that's all changed. A lot of those organizations are no longer in Lower Bucks. Others have stepped up, but walk us through that.
Sure. For all United Ways, there used to be this through line of workplace campaigns. And in short, what that means is that your boss would recommend that you give a certain amount out of your paycheck to help United Way. Your local United Way would collect the money and would help fund some really exceptional programs in the community. That worked for a really long time, but a lot of things have changed, including technology. There was a point in time when folks in our community may need the expertise of a United Way to be able to understand how solvent a nonprofit was, to understand their mission, their impact. But all of that information is available online. Folks can look at 990s if they're interested. They can look at audits if they're interested. They certainly can look at annual reports to get a sense of the impact an organization makes. So having a United Way tell folks how to donate or where to donate isn't really an essential service anymore.
So how would you describe the new direction, and how have you tried to educate not only the nonprofits, but the general population about how to be involved with the United Way these days?
That's a great question. I mean, from my perspective, there's still a tremendous value that United Ways add and bring to the community. And chief among them, I would say, is acting as a convener, bringing partners around the table, asking people to put some skin in the game to help address some of the most intractable issues and some of the greatest challenges in our community, and helping hold partners accountable for shared outcomes. Whereas at one point in time, our measure of success was how many different agency partners did we fund. Our measure of success now is what kind of difference did it make? Not just was the money distributed and how much, but what is the true and lasting impact, and how have we worked to bring together folks in our community and organizations and government to help eliminate some of the redundancies that naturally occur in health and human services.
Well, that must have been somewhat of a difficult transition, not just for you, but for the nonprofits that used to depend on a certain amount of dollars coming from United Way on an annual basis. How did that discussion go, and how did we come out the other end on that?
I think that's a really fair assessment. I mean, from our perspective, what we wanted to do was give folks as long a lead time as we possibly could. So step one was extending the grants that we had in 2016 before we made the pivot. So everyone who was currently funded got an extension to ensure that they could make a smooth transition. But the other thing that's really important is that every single organization we worked with before was invited to be part of our community solutions team to bring their expertise to help identify what challenges we would address next, and to share ideas for solutions. So it wasn't as if there was a hard stop, and in fact, we still work with most of the agencies we worked with previously. It just doesn't, the relationship doesn't look exactly the same anymore.
Mm-hmm. So how does United Way now decide what issues they want to tackle, and how do you begin to rope in partners to help you address those issues?
It's a challenge, and I think the biggest challenge is that there are so many different issues that one could choose to look at and address in our community. So what we really do is a couple of things. We look at some of the quantitative data, and so we look and see where an actual problem exists in our community. But when we bring community solutions teams together, we also ask for some qualitative feedback. What are people seeing on the ground? Where are we best positioned to make an impact? What are the challenges, and this is gonna sound funny, but what are the challenges within the challenge, right? So it's one thing to say that folks are struggling with nutrition, but the question we have to say is, all right, well, so that's one piece of it, but what are the tasks or what are the progressive steps that we need to take to help people, not just with hunger relief, but with better nutrition in our community? So the problems within the problem, what are the barriers and how do we remove them?
Right, so you sort of refer to this more as a collective impact model.
Yeah, and I have to tell you, it's not entirely fixed. I mean, we have some things that we continue to work on and continue to build, but we also continue to explore new issues as they are raised or they're brought to our attention, or we see opportunities for incredible return on investment for the dollars that are entrusted to us by our donors. So although there are key areas we'll continue to work in, for example, hunger relief, early childhood education, emergency help for people with a one-time financial crisis, there are also some smaller issues within those big categories that we continue to address and evolve and work on.
Okay, well, let's drill down on some of those collaborative programs where the United Way is working shoulder to shoulder with other organizations. Let's start with Fresh Connect because I'm very aware of it and I think it's having a really big impact.
Fresh Connect is a phenomenal program. High level view, it's a free mobile farmers market that stops in Bristol, in Ottsville, and in Warminster every week. It's a collaboration. It's United Way of Bucks County providing the funding and the program evaluation, working with Bucks County Opportunity Council, St. Mary Medical Center, Rolling Harvest Food Rescue, and our friends at Philabundance. And as is, the great thing is that it's helping people improve their health and nutrition. But as I said, we add to it each year. So one of the new things for 2020 is not just ensuring that we're bringing food to where people can access it, the markets themselves, but in 2020, we're going to be delivering fresh produce directly to homebound seniors, particularly those who are extremely low income. So we're constantly adapting our model, and that's the great thing about collective impact.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. Let's pivot and talk a little bit about street outreach. Most people don't think of Bucks County as having homeless people or teens living on the street, but the United Way is aware of that.
Sure. We and our partners, we're very engaged in a team that's working hard. I mean, our vision is ultimately to eliminate homelessness, but for right now, we need to ensure that it's brief, that homelessness is rare, and that it's non-recurring for people who have experienced it. So one of the programs we fund is called Street Outreach. What that means is that if a family or an individual finds themselves homeless in Bucks County, there's actually a team that can be dispatched to them, meet them where they are, and help them get on the path to permanent housing.
Really important work. I know you guys are very involved in pre-K scholarship programs. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it's a program that's really close to my heart as the parent of 2 young children. What I can tell you is that pre-K is essential. 90% of a child's brain develops in the first 5 years of life. So not only is it essential for a child entering K-12 systems here in Bucks County, but it's also one of the biggest financial barriers or challenges that low and moderate income families face. I can tell you from my experience, last year when I had 2 kids in pre-K, our family's cost was $24,000 a year.
Wow.
And that's not atypical in our community. Most of Bucks County, the average is about $11,000 for year round. So we provide pre-K scholarships for low and moderate income families, and it benefits everyone. The child gets a great education and is prepared to start school, but parents can go to work knowing that their child is safe, that their child is cared for, and in a good environment.
I think that's wonderful. My understanding is you guys are putting in close to $2 million into that program. So that's a serious situation for you guys. And talk a little bit about your gifts in kind, which is another $1 million outlay from the United Way.
Yeah, we distribute about $1 million worth of home goods in our community each year. We try to be as responsive as we can to our agency partners and to school districts and folks who need help and support. But basically what this is when people need things like home goods, or sometimes it's bicycles for folks to commute to work, sometimes it's small refrigerators, you name it. We work with retail partners to get those items to folks who need it. Our biggest group right now that we're serving is folks who are actually moving from homelessness into permanent housing. So some of those same folks served by street outreach.
Marissa, we've heard a lot about what the United Way is doing with 211. Can you explain that to us?
211 is a phone number, or you can chat or you can text, but it's a free 24/7, 365-day-a-year source for information and referrals for health and human services here in Bucks County. So we have a team on the ground that contacts local nonprofits and hospitals, government, and makes sure that the correct information is loaded into 211. And then anyone who lives or works in Bucks County, if they need help, if they have a friend or a parent who needs help, if they just need a little guidance, they can call 211 and access that information with a trained resource navigator. Generally, they're caseworkers and social workers.
So it's not 215-211.
No.
Just pick up the phone and dial 211?
Exactly right.
Okay.
Pick up the phone or chat online or text. It's really easy to use.
Really great stuff. I know you have a major signature event called Stuff the Bus. Can you tell us a little bit about Stuff the Bus?
Sure. One of the things we touched on earlier was collective impact and the idea of bringing people together. Stuff the Bus, we kind of spearhead it, but there's a lot of folks involved. Big Brothers Big Sisters and YW and Catholic Social Services and Bucks County Housing Group and a lot of local businesses. And it's really about ensuring that every child in Bucks County who needs help getting those back to school supplies, we get a required list from the different districts, and we try to make sure that every kid who needs help gets the help they need. Stuff the Bus, Bucks Knocks Out Hunger. These are some of our signature events in Bucks County that really give folks a chance to get involved, to volunteer, and help serve the greater good.
And so, since you've moved away from workplace campaigns, how do people now donate? If somebody is interested to learn what's going on with the United Way, if they want to learn about how to donate, where do they go and what are the opportunities for that?
Yeah, sure. We still have plenty of workplace campaigns that happen and plenty of ways for people to give. But to be honest, more and more people are choosing to make their gift online at our website, uwbucks.org. There's certainly ways that you can designate it to the cause that speaks to you within all of the areas that we work. That is how most people are choosing to give.
And how do they hear about that? Does United Way televise? Do you send out mailings? How do people know that the United Way is doing all this valuable work here in Bucks?
Well, I think, we're kind of at a transitional place right now, if I'm completely honest. A lot of the things that we're doing are very conventional nonprofit tactics. We're sending emails, we're sending letters, and we are talking to people through social media. As we move into 2020 and beyond, what we really want to start doing is a better job of targeting our advertising, our remarketing, so that we're getting right in front of people who live and work here in Bucks County. I mean, it's a challenge because we have so many people who live in Bucks County and may work out of the area or vice versa. So what's the most cost-effective way to get in front of those people? We believe that it's going to be more targeted online advertising and social media campaigns that are reaching the right populations.
Well, you guys are certainly doing a great job, Marissa, but how would you describe your vision for the future at this point in time?
We want to continue to bring people together around the causes that we care about in the areas where we're already making a pretty tremendous impact. We want to continue to grow. And to be honest, we want to continue to try new programs that have worked in other communities and perfect them here in Bucks County so we can do the greatest good.
Well, that all sounds great. Marissa, thanks for the great work you guys are doing in our Bucks County community. Thanks for joining me today, sharing your experience and knowledge, leading the way. And thank you to our listeners for your involvement in the community. Visit our Facebook page and like us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join the conversation.
Foundation's community partnership believes that when we join forces, we're stronger. We are better able to support the behavioral health and human service needs of children and young adults in Bucks County. Join us again for FCP Conversations Online. Let's go farther together.